Hello and welcome, Rod Woodward and Gary Marshall here for another installation of the Gimme 5 podcast. And one of the great things about this show, Gaz, is we often get to get our mates on here.
Correct. Absolutely, matey.
Today, no exception, of course. We'll introduce him in just a moment. But it's been a big weekend thus far, hasn't it, for you?
Well, yes. Football's back in full swing, and the mighty Bayer Leverkusen won 8-1, beating Rose Hill Press.
The worm has turned.
We're now fifth bottom in the Doncaster Rovers Sunday League. A hat-trick by Brad Grayson, 2 by young Rio Allen, Big Tom Fulton Brown, Pete Bolton from 2 inches, and Callum McEwen on the score sheet. And we're away at Independent next week.
Unbelievable, Gaz. Unbelievable. So where does that leave you now? Have you gone up a few places?
Yeah, we've gone up one place. Yeah, we're just outside the relegation. Decent, mate, honestly. And also the beer garden was open as well after, so we went back for a couple of beers and a chip butty, and everything in the garden was rosy.
Happy days. I was thinking with all these teams pulling out the European Super League, if they keep going down the list, you might get a call.
We did. I was up there, but I've got a conscience, so we said no, leave it to Arsenal, Manchester United, Liverpool, Tottenham, Man City, and Chelsea.
And I'm pleased to say that the electric's back on here, because the last time we spoke, I'd been right on cue.
Who's ringing you?
They're just asking me to join the European Super League on my own. Debbie we were talking about the German football the other day. She said, "Who's this guy, Bayern Munich? He must be a hell of a player, him." Let me just get rid of him. He's gone. And I've lost a picture now. So it's funny, I was just talking about technology and being cut off. But luckily, the other day, I managed to, I utilised the old, Emmanuel Pulley.
What? Emmanuel Pulley? He plays for Arsenal, doesn't he?
It just seemed funny when we did that the other day.
Well, maybe that threw me, I'll be honest with you.
Maybe it was because I was locked in the garage in the dark. That's when I want to start doing my gigs. You get big laughs in there. So, speaking of big laughs, it's a pleasure to introduce our special guest today. And as I said at the top, he's a big mate of both of ours. I don't know whether he knows that yet, but he certainly does now. He's an MC extraordinaire, I think you say. A brilliant compère, one of the best in the game. He works for some huge football clubs, Premier League clubs, perhaps even a couple of rivals. So I won't say who they are, just in case he loses one of the gigs. And also rugby league as well. He does a lot of hosting there. It's the one, the only... Pete Emmett is in the house.
It's the Ovenden Clunge magnet.
I thought you couldn't say that.
Say whatever I want.
It wasn't him who said it. It was Michael McIntyre, anyway.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
That means wife can't watch this now, but secret's out, innit?
It's not surprising because, with those little grey bits on the side, you're looking very distinguished. Bit like Keir Starmer.
Yeah, I tell you what, if you'd have seen me yesterday morning, Rod, before I had this haircut, you'd have thought it were Freddie Boswell from Bread. Shocking. Guys, you didn't look too good as well the other day.
Look at this now. Oh, I'm like an aging Morrissey, I think.
I'm thinking more Lamar's granddad. Sorry about that, Gazzy.
Oh, he took shy to shy.
How do I? And you know what? It's like me, innit? It's like my act, never-ending story, innit?
Never-ending story. Yeah, I did hear a rumour that you had aspirations to become the new Ken Dodd at one point. The first time Gaz worked with you.
Oh, Christ. Yeah.
Yeah, tell him about it, Gaz.
This is him being an MC, this. This isn't like an MC, right? He does about an hour and 20 minutes as an MC, right? Then we have Grace. Then we have a bit of dinner. And he gets up during the dinner, does another 30, 40 minutes. It was a Friday night. I think I got on just after Sunday lunchtime.
Sorry, but hey, I tell you what, though, to be fair, guys, I've changed over the years. And that's when you just can't wait to get up and start talking. Now I think that less is more.
Oh, that's always been my way.
Less is more. But wife said that other night as well. Don't know what she meant, but I think that is correct.
I wish I had that. I don't know. I wish I had that much material, Pete, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't think I've ever had that if I put everything together that I've ever done.
Yeah, but Rod, you've probably got half the material, but it's twice as funny. So in effect, you're the winner. You know what I mean?
I wish. Gaz,
I tell you what, you are. Just want to say, when I got invited to come on here, I jumped at chance straight away because I've got to say, Gaz, you and Rod, two of the best blokes I've met doing this job, and I'm not just saying that, but pleasure just to catch up with you.
No, I'm just going to get my dictionary. Look up bullshitter in the dictionary.
What do you mean? Well, you must have known that first time you met me. Two top blokes on a serious note, mate. And I think this podcast, I've only listened to one. I watched one the other day with Dr. Kevin Jones. Absolutely brilliant. It was about an hour, just over an hour, and it felt like 5 minutes. And this is going to be 5 minutes, but it'll feel like 3 hours. A bit of difference.
You've heard people say Seinfeld's a show about nothing. Well, they obviously haven't seen this show because
exactly. It's all entertainment, though, Rod.
Well, yes, yeah. They haven't pulled us on the trade descriptions app yet, but we're waiting for that call.
You've got an avid fan here, I can tell you that.
Hey, well, on the subject of format, Gaz, you better explain what we're up to here.
Obviously, we send a category list out to our guests. They choose 4 from the category list. In fact, we'll put this on the Twitter feed, the category list, and if anyone wants to add any categories they'd like us to put on there, we will do. The 4 that Emma has chosen are films, TV shows, artists or groups, comedians, and of course, obviously, everyone has to pick their favourite dinner guests. So we're going to kick off with your favourite 5 films, your favourite top 5 films. Emma, go away. Give us your first one.
First one, I'm going to go. I've got to kiss. I like a laugh. I like watching stuff that puts a smile on my face, like your podcast. But the film that I just find highly amusing, it's got to be anything with Will Ferrell in. But I think Anchorman.
Brilliant.
He just cracks me up. It just makes me happy when I watch him.
Yeah.
And me, totally with you there, Pete.
I'm glad you agree. Well, you two have got a good sense of humour, and I think he's just a very funny man. He
is. He reminds me a lot of when you watch him. He's got that same thing going from the Chevy Chase used to have, hasn't he?
Yeah,
Just he's
likable, isn't he?
Yeah. Just draw him, doesn't he?
Yeah, very, very likable. He's one of them things. If you see anything new with Will Ferrell in, I'll watch it anyway, just because he's in it. He's one of them actors that you just like, innit? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
absolutely. Alexa, play Jackie Moon. We were just talking about this.
Oh, here we are. Not Jackie Moon, for God's sake.
Jackie Moon on Amazon.
Have you heard that, Semi-Pro? This is a great way to start your day. Come on, girl. Yeah, it's me, Jackie Moon. Give me that look. That's right. Let's get sweaty. Let's get real sweaty. I'm talking rainforest sweaty. I'm talking swamp sweaty. Let's fill a bathtub full of sweat. All right. If that's not the best way to start your day, I don't know what is. It's either that or Call Me Al by Paul Simon, but I won't go into the rest of the lyrics. There's a lot of licking and sucking going on, but...
I tell you what, Rod, you just crack on. Don't speak to me. Let's just... This is far more enjoyable than anything.
Go through your playlist, Rod.
Alexa, stop. I can do about 1 hour and 10 of this stuff when I'm emceeing.
Just all this. Have you seen him in that Eurovision one?
I love that.
Absolutely brilliant, weren't it? And the actual single came out with him on doing his little bit.
Yeah, ding dong.
Yeah, just every time I listen, it just cracks me up.
I hated myself.
It's actually a good song.
It is, and I hated myself liking it.
Yeah, ding dong. My love for you is growing wild and long. Yeah, it's a great one, and she's great as well, isn't she? Rachel McAdams in it. Yeah,
I thought it was a really good film. I'm going to have to throw this one in for you, Rod, as well. I know you mentioned the work at football, and this isn't why I chose the film, but it was about 3 years ago. I was hosting at Anfield. It was Liverpool against Swansea, and you go into the lounge, and they sort of tell you if anybody is sort of well known is coming in, and they says, "Oh, Will Ferrell's going to be about today," and I was like, oh, God. I thought, you know what it's like doing our job. Sometimes you get a bit starstruck, and but you also kind of get used to it and you don't act like it affects you. But when Will Ferrell come in the lounge, I've never ever, I didn't know what to do, and I was on the microphone and he actually walked along the front of me, and wow. I was actually going to say something in the microphone and I couldn't, but I went, oh, and he come blasting my face. He went, oh. It was just a magical moment, better than my wedding day, to be honest. And then, guys, you know our Kieran, don't you, my son?
I do, yeah.
He's a little bit cheeky, he's a bit like me, and I was really excited, and I texted him, and I was actually sort of shaking when I texted him, and I thought, Kieran, you won't believe it, I've just met Will Ferrell, and I hadn't really met him, I'd just seen him, you know what I mean, and then he texts me back, and I don't know if this is acceptable on your posh podcast, but he texts me back, no word of a line, he put, Anchorman meets Wankerman, eh? I thought, a magical moment, that though.
Yeah.
I love that.
Wankerman, what's your number 2 film?
It was a film that Dr. Kevin Jones picked, and I just love the film because One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah,
it's just
fantastic film, isn't it?
It's when I watched it first time. We used to doll off school, me and my mate. He had a VHS video, and it were on them Ferguson video stars with big buttons on front. And we used to doll off school and watch One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And it's funny. At the time, it was just a funny film to us.
Yeah.
And it was only when I got older that I realised it's a sad film as well, with a good message in it, really. But you didn't realise that when I was a kid. But I think Jack Nicholson in that, just mesmerising, just a brilliant, brilliant film. I can watch it. I don't know how many times I've seen it and just be engrossed in it. Just sit there with my juicy fruit, watching it and thinking,
juicy fruit.
What a film!
Yeah.
In them days, though, Pete, if you had to pay to join a video club. Mine was in a garage. Mine was in a total garage in Conisbrough. I had to pay 25 quid.
Yeah.
And then they just get them from under counter. These dodgy scum. I remember getting scum early doors. Oh wow, they were the days.
That was superb, wasn't it? I've seen it when we went on Monday Club in Doncaster. Seen you with sock and pole balling. Who's the daddy? I'm the daddy.
Yeah, but I wouldn't go in that greenhouse with you. That's what I wouldn't do.
Oh, I drink Skull, not Carlin. Remember?
Yeah.
But I think Nurse Ratched as well in that film. It was because she was so evil, weren't she?
She was, yeah. It was also convincing, and many of the patients, as we heard from Dr. Kev, they were actually authentic mental patients, weren't they?
Yeah, yeah.
And most of them have joined our Monday Club since.
You know that scene where they've got the pajamas on, and one of the cigarettes goes in turnips on pajamas, and they're all like our Monday Club, isn't it? Dean Windass could have been in that film, and it'd be blended in perfectly, wouldn't it? Nurse Ratched, I think I'm a Catholic, and I went to a Catholic school, and Nurse Ratched, she looked quite sort of mellow up to some nuns that we had at our school, really. So it was quite nice watching her. Thinking, it'd be lovely to be that nice, wouldn't it?
Brilliant. Interesting fact just come through from the producer Ian. During filming, a crew member running cables left a second-story window open at the Oregon State Mental Hospital, and an actual patient climbed through the bars and fell to the ground, injuring himself. The next day, the Statesman Journal in Salem, Oregon, reported the incident with the headline on the front page, "One flew out of the cuckoo's nest." Good fact, Ian. Fair play. Keep them coming.
Good fact, Ian. Good fact. So we've got One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, number 3, and I think this will be in most people's top 5.
Yeah, that's in Shawshank Redemption. It's just
I have no idea what those Italian women were singing about.
Our very good friend.
I'm not going to talk about it too much because everyone knows what a brilliant film it is, but I think it's just a film that you never get bored of it.
No.
Thank you for bringing this up, because when John Parkin mentioned this film, I got it completely mixed up with
Green Mile.
No, I got it completely mixed up with Escape from Alcatraz. But I then called it The Great Escape, which he wasn't in that. I said, yes, he was. So yes, I do remember it. It was just one of those moments, and thank you very much for letting me clear that up.
Oh, good man, Gaz. That's all I'm here for. That's why you messaged me yesterday. So not sure what in your top 5 films, Mo, but just put it in so I can explain myself.
God, Gaz, that was some apology, you grovelling bastard.
Sickening.
I've seen it. I look an absolute balloon on it. I know my stuff, but Christ almighty. Well, the worst thing was calling Escape from Alcatraz the Great Escape. That was getting the ending wrong on the Shawshank.
Do you know when you said that Escape from Alcatraz, I'm that thick, I was thinking that were a good film, that, when Stallone were in goals and Bobby Moore and all that. Thinking, a couple of thick lads from Yorkshire here, to be fair, isn't it?
Yeah.
Rod, you're looking like Bamba Gascoigne at the moment on this. Proper intelligent.
Just something else popped through. Stephen King has said that his original novella was a culmination of all the memories he had from watching prison movies when he was a child. So there we are, Gaz. You could have gone and written something like that.
There you are, you see.
That's good, isn't it?
Yeah. I just knew, didn't I?
In fact, you think of Stephen King as a big horror writer, don't you? But the stuff he wrote, like The Green Mile and like Stand By Me and like The Shawshank Redemption, is so versatile, isn't he? Genius, absolute genius.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah,
brilliant.
I think a lot of people would probably pick Shawshank Redemption. That, and I haven't put Green Mile in, but them two, just watch them, can't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
good choices, mate.
Number 4, Mo.
I've gone for Raging Bull. I'm a massive boxing fan, and I just think it's a brilliant film. I think the acting in it is just sensational. I think Robert De Niro, you can see what a brilliant... If you watch Robert De Niro in Taxi Driver, he's so convincing as an actor, and then you watch him in that, and you almost... It's like he was Jake LaMotta. He's that good in it.
Yeah.
Just like mesmerised watching him. I think it's a brilliant film. It's sort of it's not a nice film really. It gets into sort of what he was really like, and I think Joe Pesci in it as well. I think it was Joe Pesci's acting debut, and he's just an unreal actor as well. Yeah.
Talking of acting, I mean, De Niro put on 60 pound during the film, which coincidentally is what I put on since this pandemic started.
Yeah, well, it would have helped that instead of using blood in the film, because it was in black and white, wasn't it? They used Hershey chocolate. So every bit of blood that you see in the film is chocolate. Yeah.
Really? I didn't know that. Yeah, I'll throw in a little story here for you, Rod. I before I went into speaking on circuit, I was a design engineer, believe it or not, and I used to design chocolate bars. I used to draw them up and for like the plastic molds. So we used to do Hershey bars, and one of the lads I worked with, he actually went to America. He was in a supermarket and he queued up for ages, a massive queue. And I did the drawings, and he programmed all the details to machine the Hershey bar. And he got to the front of the queue and he said to this American woman, he thought, I'm going to have to tell her, she'll be impressed. And he goes, I actually machined the thing for that bar. I think she'd be right impressed. And she just went, next, please. Just like a bell end from Halifax, which it was.
I hope you didn't design the fun size Mars bar, by the way.
No, too small then.
Exactly. There's nothing fun about that size.
No.
One the size of a pillar you could lie on and nibble at the same time would be fun to me, I'll be honest with you.
I'll sort you one of them out, Gas.
Those Aldi rip-off ones, because I guess there must be sort of copyright deals with how much they can rip off. But you can imagine like these covert people creeping into the factory and figuring out what sort of molds they got. Were you one of them people? Or did you make...
No, if they did an offer like a Kit Kat with 15% extra, we had to work out all the areas and the density of the chocolate, so it was actually 15%. And if you got it wrong, and they made thousands of these plastic mouldings, it cost like probably near on £1 million error. So there's quite a lot of them. And I was that good at being a design engineer, I thought now's a good time to go and talk shite somewhere. I did that instead.
We should have done your top 5 chocolate bars, shouldn't we? That's a category we've not been into, Gaz.
Oh, yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that next time.
Yeah.
You need to put that on.
Yeah.
Your final film is an absolute belting film. I'm glad you've done this. I don't think many people will put this in their top 5, but it is a classic film.
I just love it, and it's probably one that a lot of people might not have even seen. Dead Man's Shoes.
Shane Meadows.
I've not seen that.
Have you not seen it?
No. Never even heard of it.
I've watched it so many times, and it's just it's just the film. It's a bit dark, isn't it? It drags you in, but it's the storyline. It's the storyline, and I think Paddy Considine's acting.
That's his name, Paddy Considine. Yeah,
just absolutely unbelievable. I think it's one of the best sort of acting performances I've ever seen, from start to finish as well. And it's quite a sad story, but it is a sad story, isn't it? But
it is, yeah. It's
also a good story of he didn't forget, did he? What happened to his brother? And he sort of came back. I think there's some really good performances. I think Gary Stretch as well.
Yeah, he's an ex-boxer, isn't he?
Gary Stretch, the ex-boxer. When Paddy Considine meets him, it's like, wow.
Oh, I'll have to watch this.
Yeah, honestly.
You'll have to watch it, Rod.
It's great. I mean, Shane Meadows, who did this in England and stuff like that, you know what you're going to get with the Shane Meadows film. Yeah. It's very dark. It's very true to life as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a class film, pal.
It were a low-budget film as well, weren't it? It weren't. Yeah. It's not like a Hollywood blockbuster. I think it were a film for low budget.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was film for.
That's one of the beauties of this program, is that now and again you unearth something like that that's completely slipped through your net. So we've had a couple of good tips on stuff that you've watched. Do you watch that thing that Nina told you to watch, Gaz? Didn't you?
I watched that.
I May Destroy You. Which
I May Destroy You. I got through 10 episodes in a couple of days of that. Yeah. I enjoy it. I enjoy all this, but Dead Man's Shoes.
Yeah, brilliant. One of my favourites, that.
It's a must. Well, there you go. That's the films. Anchorman, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, The Shawshank Redemption, which of course has got nothing to do with The Great Escape or Escape from Alcatraz, Raging Bull, and Dead Man's Shoes.
Well, the thing is, someone once said that Gary Marshall and Rod Woodward would never amount to anything. And that person must be feeling very smug indeed now.
Now on to your favourite TV programmes.
Yeah. I'll probably start. Do you know, I don't actually watch much television, believe it or not. I spend most of my time just pottering about, fixing stuff, doing my garden. I don't really like sitting watching television. I found it quite hard to pick the programmes. And I just thought of the programmes that brought me a lot of kind of almost joy when I think back to them. I've not really watched this one a lot. I think I only watched it twice. But Afterlife, Ricky Gervais, Afterlife.
You say you watched it twice, just 2 episodes, or have you watched both series twice?
No, I have not even watched the second series yet. Do you know why? I'm saving it up to watch it.
I think the second series was better than the first, and you don't normally get that.
Yeah, so I watched Afterlife, but I think it's good, where it shows how talented Ricky Gervais is, that he can make a sad subject funny.
Yeah,
and that's what he's done, and I think it's just such a powerful program. He
is a brilliant actor.
Yeah.
Brilliant actor.
He's a brilliant mind, isn't he? I mean, I flicked on the TV the other day and Animals was on, his first effort at stand-up. And you just watch it thinking, oh, that's his first go, like, you know.
Yeah.
And he looked like he'd been doing it 30 years, didn't he, on there?
So he started out as a pop star in the 80s. He was a pop star in a band called Shona Dancing, which I've got a couple of their records, actually. More to Lose. Great song. But started out as a pop star.
Yeah.
Stand-up comic. He's a comic actor. Anything he does.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
The Office, Extras. It was everything he's done. I thought has been brilliant.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Ricky Gervais.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't seen all of Afterlife, just seen a few snippets, really, so I'll get onto that. But apparently the character of James the Recorder Kid is based upon James Corden, who has but many of Gervais' jokes on prior occasions. I don't know whether that's a little bit of friendly banter or whether there's a bit more to it than that.
There's an outtakes from the second series. There's an outtakes which mainly involves Paul Kay, the psychiatrist. It is outstanding. Just watch the outtakes. They're brilliant. Brilliant. Yeah, I love that. Afterlife, superb. The second one, this is probably the start of the alternative Comedy shows.
Yeah, young ones. I just absolutely loved it. And I think I was a teenager at school, and it were a bit rebellious, and it were like you almost wanted to act like they were at that time. I think Rick Mayall, I just loved Rick Mayall. Everything Rick Mayall did from when he was in Blackadder, I could sit and watch him, everything he did. Kevin Turvey, I remember. Kevin Turvey. Yeah. I remember going to see him at Halifax Civic Theatre. I was about 15. Me and my mate went, just absolutely loved it. We just, and young ones were fantastic. Everyone involved in it. When it Alexis Sale,
amazing,
Ed Edmondson, all of them. I think,
as you said, it felt so radical at the time, didn't it? And you almost felt you were watching something that you shouldn't really be watching as a kid. Yeah, I loved that show. And then Blackadder sort of came off the back of that, didn't it? And that was just as revolutionary, really.
The young ones, it means like Rick Mayall, Ed Edmondson, Nigel Planer, and they were all like. And then they had this Mike character.
Who was he?
I know, just a normal fella.
He was just ordinary, wasn't he?
With these lunatics.
Yeah,
they were pretty cool though. To be fair, weren't they as well?
Oh, it was. Yeah, you got the old shades, like some from Chip.
You did forget what about the Rats? SPG.
Yeah.
A big part of that show. He was funny.
The young ones.
And I think that was the start of like changing comedy, weren't it? Like the alternative comedy, really.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, BBC changed it from situation comedy to a light entertainment show.
Yeah.
Just because it wasn't a sitcom as such, was it? So
no.
Yeah, but big fan. Your third one, wow.
Oh yeah, probably surprising. I throw in I like watching funny programs. I also I didn't put a lot of it down. I like watching documentaries, programs on history, anything like that. But one program I watched it last night, and it gets me every time. It's The Repair Shop. I just think it's just such a moving program, and I think I'm not a materialistic person, but and a lot of people that go on that show, they'll have something, might have been the grandmas or the granddads, or it's just an old item that's been maybe lying about in a loft or in a garage for years, and take it into the repair shop. And they always tell the story of the item, and then they treat it with love, and they almost bring it back to life. And it's that moment when they go back and see it. And it's weird how just a small thing to you, nothing to someone else, but it can mean so much. I watched Repair Shop last night, and there was a lady on, and it moved me to tears. I don't know if you saw it. I don't even know if I'd recorded it or we're actually on, but I watched one, and it was a lady, and she lost her twin brother when he was 21 in a road accident, and they had like a donkey. Cuddly toy donkey. And she called it Wonky Donkey. All its legs had collapsed and that. And there was a bit where he'd sewn it up. And they took it in and said, see if you can restore it. And they restored it. They put new eyes on it. And when she came back in and saw it, it just moved you to tears, because it's what a little thing that it's that link to that person. Yeah. And it's like I lost my dad 20 years ago, and he was always pottering about fixing stuff, my dad, and then a lot of the stuff that he had, I've not been able to throw it away because it's got sentimental value to me. And I went up to my mum's about 3 weeks ago, and I was tidying his old shed out, and I found an old like lantern, like a coal miner's lantern. It were a mess. He probably just wanted to throw it away, and I brought it home. I spent hours and hours, and I've done it up, painted it with black hammerite and all that. And slightly bring it back to life. It's like that program. And I went up and I showed it to my mum. I said, look at that. And she said, it's shite. Skip's still there. Throw it in Skip. No, I made that last bit up, mate. It's just a really nice program.
It is. And you would like to think.
Tell me you've got it with you now.
No, I've built a bar in my garden. I'm gonna put it up and that. So when you come over, guys, if you're coming through Halifax, if you drive past our house, you'll be able to see it from the road. It's all lit up for you.
My mother-in-law, Dame Peggy, she loves the record shop. Mind you, she's 85, so each to their own.
Yeah. It's a nice program, isn't it? I find it really emotional to watch.
Yeah, and it's nice to think that restoration means so much to people.
Exactly.
You'd like to think they don't just whip it on eBay straight away.
That'd be a bad ending, that, wouldn't it?
I saw one where they brought in an old rally chopper.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
Oh, well, brilliant! That
there was two lads from Yorkshire lads or Manchester, weren't they?
Yeah, they
were brilliant. They did it all up, didn't they? Yeah,
it looked brilliant, didn't it?
Yeah, it was fantastic. That
red with yellow writing. I had one of them.
It brought back bad memories, that particular episode, guys. Because when I used to do my paper round when I was a lad, and our Paul's 3 years younger than me, and for his birthday, my mum and dad, they didn't have much money, and they got him one of them grifters. Do you remember the grifters?
Yeah, that was the poor man's chopper.
Yeah. And they got it from Case Catalogue, £3 a week for 25 years or whatever. And my dad put it in garage. And I would do my paper round on a seat bike. My dad were at work. And I thought, I'll borrow it and I'll do my paper round. And I went down probably one of the steepest roads in Halifax called Heathy Lane. And I was going really fast and I pulled the brake and the brake cable snapped. And I went head over. I had to go into like an electricity substation to stop. So I hit it. I went flying, did a couple of somersaults and a pike. And I bent all the handlebars, scratched all the bike. And he'd not even given it to my brother for his birthday yet. I limped home, put it in garage, tried to cover it. And that was the first time that I realised that my dad had Tourette's and that he could do a good impersonation of Jake LaMotta on me. Quite a sad story, that one, really. So thanks for reminding me.
I liked it.
Eh?
I liked it.
Yeah, I bet you would. Me getting filled in is always a good story.
That bike could have gone into the repair shop, I reckon.
I know, yeah.
You imagine that? Can you go with this? Toe rags. Number 4 on your list is an old classic.
Yeah, I can, if I'm flicking through channels at home and I don't know what to watch, I'll just go on Dave channel and it's on quite often. Only Fools and Horses. I'm not even bothered if I've seen it before. I can just bang it on and I never ever don't smile when I'm watching it. It's just one of them programs, isn't it? I think the writing it is just genius, isn't it?
Yeah, John Sullivan, brilliant, isn't he?
Yeah, and all the characters, the different characters as well, isn't it?
Dave.
You can relate to a lot of them people, innit? We all know a boy, don't we? All know a girl boy.
Yeah, that show just seems to be part of the fabric of the British DNA now, doesn't it? It means so much to so many people. And
your favourite scene in it, by the way? What was your favourite scene, Pete?
I think the one that always gets me is with Singer when he gets up and he's with Gangster and he starts singing that Roy Orbison song about why you don't sort of expect that bit, do you?
Hey, here's a random fact that maybe you didn't know. You know the role of Cassandra?
Yeah.
You never believe who auditioned for that.
Go on.
Elizabeth Hurley.
Really?
Didn't get the part though.
Oh no.
I don't know whether.
Really? I didn't know that.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know how you unearthed that, Ian. Fair play. He's got a big smile on his face now, the producer.
Watch this. He comes up to our producer.
He's like a Ray Winston in corner, just making things up.
Yeah. I need to find out that all these facts are made up.
He's got 3 gullible lads going. Honest.
Do you know you might be onto something there, Pete?
He's like a puppet master.
Yeah.
Randomly,
Thunderbirds, isn't it?
Randomly giving these facts out. We haven't got a clue. He's like, oh, this is a nice one for you.
Thinking about it, the stuff I don't think.
Bollocks.
I'm beginning to wonder whether Marlon Brando was a eunuch. Yeah, maybe I'll check that out after. Make note.
Hey, guys, I was just thinking then actually. Do you remember just on Only Fools and Horses? Do you remember we had Speaker's Christmas party at the Alma Hotel?
Oh, yes. Oh yeah, I remember. Rocky Roberts.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. No, that could have been Raging Bull, wasn't it? Dean Windass and Lee Roberts that day, but
he was there, wasn't he?
He was.
Yeah.
They were in pantomime, weren't they, over the road?
That's right. So we're all in the bar having a few beers, and who walks in but Boyce from Only Fools and Horses. Well, I'm thinking, wow, I can't believe this. I'm obviously starstruck seeing people like Gary Marshall and that, but when John Chalice walked in, it was like, wow.
It was a Will Ferrell moment, wasn't it?
Yeah. And do you know something? He was really nice. He chatted to us all, wasn't it? And then he got up to go to the toilet, and we all thought we were being generally, really funny. I reckon after 2 hours of him getting up and going to the bar and going to the toilet with 30 comedians going, Marlene, he did get slightly bored of us.
I think Rod was in bed by then, though, Pete, because I think that was the year of his eating raw chicken goujon.
Oh, goujon Gates.
Yeah, I remember that. Hey, I tell you what, I've got to mention Rod as well at our Christmas parties. What an entertainer! He's brilliant comedian. But I remember the first time I got up, Rod, he started singing Frank Sinatra. Honestly, what a talent! What a voice you've got.
Well, someone told me the room needed clearing, so that was.
Hey, no, I'm bigging you up here, mate.
Oh, God bless you. Well, I have been known to pick up the karaoke mic in anger, but
you know Limal of Doncaster. No Limal of Doncaster, but you're very good. He's going to kill me next time I see him.
I will kill you. Right, your final
final one. Yeah,
program. I love this program.
Yeah, it's just quite sad, really, to talk about it now, because I think the main person in it he's just passed away like a couple of weeks ago. But Friday Night Dinner.
Yeah, Paul Ritter.
I don't really watch that. There's not many comedies on sort of that I really watch and enjoy, and I kind of switch off from. I can be watching it and I go on Twitter and stuff, but Friday Night Dinner from start to finish, it's one of them programs. Like if our Kieran comes home from uni, we'll stick it on, and it's one of them programs you can sit and watch with your family, and it's
dead easy, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think he was just a brilliant actor. Paul Ritter, he would just
shit on it.
Shit on it.
Love a bit of squirrel.
Yeah.
my favourite. I think I'm going to say it's in my top 3.
Yeah.
Comedy parts is Jim from Next Door. I think Mark.
Yeah.
Look, Jimmy, you look nice. Oh, I love him, mate.
Hey, I tell you what, mate, you can pull that off to a T, you guys. Yeah.
Thank you. I might.
Hello.
Shalom. Oh, brilliant! And I think the one of the either his Paul Ritter's mum in the program passed away as well.
Really, I didn't know.
Yeah, a couple of months before as well. So yeah, there's got a couple of deaths out of the program.
I can never figure out. I think I missed the beginning, but why did the father wander around with no shirt on?
Because he just said it was too hot.
Oh, right.
The heating was on all the time, yeah. It's too hot. Oh, it's just brilliant.
Okay, I was thinking, because I couldn't quite figure that out. I thought maybe I need to see this from the beginning and all will be.
Yeah, watch him. You'll love him, Roddy. I think it's just brilliant.
Yeah,
comedy.
Yeah, it is. Marvellous. So
Good
your TV programmes,
yeah.
Afterlife, The Young Ones, Repair Shop, Only Fools and Horses, and Friday Night Dinner.
Is that all right for you?
Lovely.
I mean, you think of all the great double acts. I'm talking Stan and Ollie, Abbott and Costello, Little and Large, Cannon and Ball, Hill and Pace, Zig and Zag, Mike and Bernie Winters, the Crankies, the list goes on. And Gary and Rod, they're just not them, are they?
Your next section are artists, or groups.
Yeah.
And your first 4 are groups. So please talk us through your first one.
I love my music. That's my little thing where I get away from everything. I go listen to my music. My favourite band, much to my wife's disgust, she cannot stand them, which makes me like them even more because every time I play it, I get on a wick. AC/DC.
Yeah, I'm with your wife on this.
I just love them. I can listen to them all day. Been to see them quite a lot. When I was younger, that's all I wanted to do, go and see AC/DC, and they just bring back a lot of nice memories for me. Me and my best mate, we used to go watch them all over.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't like them, but I do. And I think saddest part is that Bon Scott, who was the lead singer before Brian Johnson came in, he passed away, but I never saw him with Bon Scott. I've seen him loads of times with Brian Johnson. I've seen him with Axl Rose, but I would have loved to have seen him with Bon Scott. I just loved his voice and the music.
Yeah.
The first band I saw, no, it weren't them. I'll talk about them in a minute, but I went to see them. I think it was for those About to Rock tour, and I was just besotted. And I used to have 3 paper rounds. I've always had a good work ethic, but they headlined at Monsters of Rock, Castle Donington, and I think it was 1984. And I really wanted to go, but I couldn't afford. And Halifax Courier, our local newspaper, they ran a competition, win 2 tickets to Monsters of Rock, Castle Donington Festival. And the tickets were a lot of money, and I thought, so I bought a pack of postcards, and it were like, you fill in, they did a competition, and I put the answers down, and I wrote all my friends and family's names on all the different postcards. I walked to the town centre, posted them, and lo and behold, my Auntie Liz won 2 tickets for Monsters of Rock Festival. Yep, and she had a picture in the local paper. I've never seen anybody, her and my Uncle Graham, looking as awkward, but I got the tickets and I went. It was magnificent. One of the best things I've ever been to.
I was never the biggest fan of theirs, but I remember when I used to have my denim jacket on. I usually used to have an AC/DC badge.
Yeah.
And also 2 other of your next 2 choices. I had their badges on as well, yeah. One of them was an actual picture of I think it's your next band. Yeah, but I used to have an AC/DC. So I thought, that looks cool, doesn't it? Oh,
You've always looked cool, guys.
I got to ask you, Pete, was your auntie in on the scam, or did she just get a random letter saying you've won?
No, they contacted her and she had to go and have a picture in local newspaper.
But you'd given her the heads up beforehand, did you?
No. I got all the dresses off my mum, right? I fill all the cards in, and I walked down, posted them, and I won. And I went. I actually went to the gig, and me and my mate went, 2 of us. It was brilliant. And I think I went to Monsters Rock a few times, but I think the band, the young ones had a band called Bad News. Do you remember them? They had a band and they played there. They were horrendous, but I couldn't believe it. I saw them in the flesh.
Wouldn't it have been great if his auntie had gone instead of him and hadn't even told him that she went out 2 weeks later? I went to that Monsters of Rock.
Banging.
And do you know what I did as well? This is how thick we were. Me and my mate, we climbed over the Dunlop tyre on the racetrack. We climbed over it. We walked over it.
Wow.
Quite thick, really.
Yeah.
Probably doesn't surprise you, that, Gaz, does it?
No, it doesn't at all. No. Number 2.
First band I ever saw, 1982 at Elland Road, Queen. Freddie Mercury. Superb. Absolutely brilliant, yeah.
I had one of their badges. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially got to see him in my first ever live band that I saw as well. Seeing Freddie Mercury as well. It were at Elland Road, and I think it were about May 1982, and we got there. We waited 11 hours to see him. We got there at 11 in the morning, and they came on at 10 o'clock at night. And we were in the West Stand, and we climbed over. They had the fences then. We climbed over the fence, and we went.
You do a lot of climbing, don't you?
Yeah, I have done a lot of climbing. Yeah, well, sorry about that. I've had a lot of accidents.
Chris Bonington of Avondon, you.
Yeah. So that was my first ever gig, and Freddie Mercury, what a showman! But we got pushed forward when they came on. We got pushed forward, so we couldn't even see. We only saw Brian May if he came right to the front of the stage because we were sort of looking up to him, and all we could see were up Freddie Mercury's nostrils when he come right to the front singing. But it was a good gig though. Some gig that.
Yeah, they reckon they were the all-timers live.
Yeah,
my cousin saw him at Nebworth. Matthew,
yeah,
and he was killed in a tragic accident when he was 17. But since then, the family have sort of latched on to Queen as you know, in memory, and so. But they mean a lot. You find they mean a lot to a lot of people for different reasons like that.
Yeah. Brilliant songs, timeless, aren't they?
Yeah, they were the first band that I got into, and I think it was basically because my best mate at the time, his older brother was into them, and because you think you look up to it, and he was a massive Queen fan, so I just thought, I like Queen.
Yeah,
play the game, save me. Oh, them belters, yeah.
I'll be banging them on after this now.
Was it jazz? Was it a jazz album? Was it?
Yeah, but I liked all the early stuff like Night at the Opera and all them type of.
All right. I think jazz was the first album I got into a Queen.
Yeah. Seven Seas of Rye and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your third choice, I love this. There's another band I used to love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. I know I said AC/DC my favourite band, but when I was younger, I was obsessed with these because mainly for the lead guitarist who used to be in Deep Purple, Richie Blackmore's Rainbow. I just loved Rainbow. I still listen to them now all the time. Like Ronnie James Dio, Rain Bonnet.
Yeah.
Jolene Turner. They went a little bit poppy with Jolene Turner with sort of that I Surrender. And
I didn't mind them. I liked I Surrender and Since You've Been Gone and all that, mate.
Yeah, Graham Bonnet did Since You've Been Gone.
Yeah.
And I like them. I only ever saw them once, though. I'd all off school. I went to Nottingham, I think it was Rock City, to watch them. And they didn't turn up. They cancelled the show. I was absolutely distraught. In fact, I could feel my bottom lip quivering now. Upset. I was so excited to see Bungle and Zippy, and it didn't happen.
Yeah. I know. Rod, Jane, and Freddie, they were a waste of time.
And then went to see him at Stafford, believe it or not, before I knew Ian Orwell, so that were good times. And,
did you climb over?
I'm not saying. Went to see him down there, and it was brilliant because the drummer was called, I think it was Bobby Rondinelli or Chuck Burke, I can't remember, but he threw his drumstick out and it hit me in eye, and I've still got it to this day. Not perfect.
Eye?
Yeah, my eye, it's there, look. He'd had to put drumstick on coal fire when I got on his nerves.
Those are two random names to confuse, aren't they? Bobby Rondinelli and Chuck Burke. I'm not sure which one.
Yeah, I know, sorry about that. I mean, I think it was Bobby Rondinelli. Proper good name, that, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? It is a good name, that.
Sounds like one of your characters, Rod.
Bobby Rondinelli.
That'd be a good one for you.
He's great, Bobby Rondinelli, yeah.
The Bobby Rondinelli, yes.
He runs an ice cream parlour in Llanelli.
Your fourth band, I think this might come as a bit of a surprise because, I mean, obviously everyone knows the massive hit they had, but go on.
I'm a big fan of Shane MacGowan, the Pogues. It depends what mood I'm in. I like my rock music, but sometimes I like listening to slower music. It depends what mood I'm in, but I really like the Pogues. They're just a band that I don't know if it's my mum's Irish background maybe, but I just like listening to him. I think Shane MacGowan is if you see him, you can't imagine what a talent he is because he's obviously had his problems with a drink over the years and that. But I think as a songwriter, as a lyricist, just unbelievable. And when you see him live, I don't know how he does it, but he pulls it off. I just think they're a brilliant band.
Yeah,
probably one that people might think Pogues, but yeah. Like I once went to see him in Limerick. I went over to Limerick, a few of us, and they were on I think it was a venue called Dolan's Warehouse, just a small venue, small intimate venue, and we went over. It was in a pub next door, and my mate came in. He goes, Emma, he goes, what? He were proper excited. I said, what's up? He goes, I've just been talking to Shane MacGowan. I went, never. And he goes, honestly, he says, he's on tour bus outside. I thought he was having me on because he knew I were a bit giddy. And then I thought, he's a little bit excited here. It's a bit too much. So I said, come on. So we went out. And the tour, when you think of Pogues tour bus, you'd think really smart bus like, but it were a rusty wreck.
I can imagine.
And I seen Shane MacGowan on bus, and I thought, I'm going to have to go on. And I know you shouldn't do it, but I just want to go and say hello to him. So I climbed on bus and I went
obviously.
Climbed on. And honestly, guys, he was slumped. He was in the seat like that, fast asleep, steaming, absolutely drunk. And he's got a gig to do. And I nudged him on his shoulder. I went, Shane, thinking he'd be right. Happy to meet me. And I know I shouldn't swear on your podcast. But
I swear.
Fuck off. One of the proudest moments I've ever had. Steve MacGowan told me, rock and roll, that, innit?
It's amazing, these guys, as you said there, Pete, you know, they're quite messed up. They got issues and somehow they turn it on. It's just like the raw talent takes over, isn't it, when they go on the stage? Yeah,
I thought this gig is definitely not happening. They got off the bus. We watched them. We stayed there a while, sort of stalking them. And they got off the bus, and the guitarist just fell over in the road. They had to like lift him up. All the band were absolutely steaming. And I thought, and we went in, and I was leaning on, it was a small intimate gig with about 200, 300 people there. And I was leaning on the monitor. Shane McGowan were there in front of me singing. And I'm looking at his guitarist. He got about 4 songs in and he's playing, and he just fell over on his back and just stayed on floor playing. Class.
That is class.
And your fifth is
yeah, just probably a bit easy listening. I just think again, he's a good songwriter. Wrote some great songs over the years, and I think he continues to do so. Noel Gallagher, just think just enjoy listening to him. I've been to see him. I probably like him because I've always loved my music, and then our Kieran got into music when he was, say, about 15. And some of the music he was listening to is sort of stuff I liked. And I think for me, I liked Oasis, the early stuff. And then him listening to it, it kind of rekindled it in me. I thought, I like this. And then me and our Kieran have been to see Noel Gallagher quite a lot of times, which is nice, a dad and lad moment.
Yeah.
To watch a band, and I know I look like that weird bloke with a young lad when I first started going to gigs, but it's just you go to a gig and you forget everything, don't you? You can lose yourself in the music, and I just love doing that, mate.
Yeah. I've said this on there before. I prefer Noel Gallagher on his own and Liam Gallagher on his own than Oasis, which is weird. So
yeah, I mean, I went to see Oasis, and I think they were all right, but I think I just prefer Noel Gallagher's
High Flying Bird
stuff now as I've got older. We went to Cork to see him, went to Ireland, me and our Kieran. He said to me, Dad, he says, Noel Gallagher's touring. And you know what it's like when you've got stuff in your diary. I think he was in Manchester on the Saturday, Liverpool the following Saturday or something like that. I says, I can't go because I had events on. And then wife said, he's on in Cork on Tuesday. Why don't you go to Cork? And I went, I don't know. Might be a bit of hassle trying to sort everything out, tickets, hotel, flights and everything. And I went to host an Everton game, and after the game, my wife texted me and she went, all sorted. I thought, what's she on about? And when I got home, she'd booked everything, tickets, hotel. His band were in the same hotel, I think Rivoli Hotel in Cork, so proper rock and roll, that, innit? He's climbed in his room, Gaz.
Obviously. Man, you know what you say, it's great when you go with your lad to go and see a band and one of him. I took, me and our Jake went to see Hall & Oates.
Your Jake's lost any street credit he had when he worked for this podcast.
Brilliant. Hall & Oates are brilliant.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Private eyes, they're watching you. Anyway, great choices. AC/DC, Queen, Rainbow, The Pogues and Noel Gallagher. So we'll move on to your fourth list, and it's comedians.
Comedians, yeah. I didn't really know who to go for because there's that many to choose from, really. But it were hard. At times last night, I was thinking, I wish I'd not have chose this category. There's that many you could pick. I left out like Billy Connolly, and I'm thinking, how did I leave him out, kind of thing. But I thought, I like sort of observational comics, and I think Peter Kay, I think everyone loves Peter Kay. Well, maybe not everybody, but I think he's such a talent. He can turn his hand to anything he seems to do, doesn't it? Like Geraldine, the car share, and Phoenix Nights. I just loved Phoenix Nights. I think that probably got me really into enjoying comedy when Phoenix Nights come out.
Yeah,
just a talent.
Yeah. He's one of those guys again, isn't he? Everybody seems to like him. He's got that mass appeal that he transcends the alternative and the mainstream stuff. I mean, obviously you get that sort of faction of the new wave comics who consider him to be traditional. But I mean, funny's funny, isn't it? And,
exactly. Yeah.
Outstanding comic.
Yeah, no qualms. Your second one, I couldn't agree more with this fella.
Second one, I just love him. He's on. I listen to him on radio. Any if he's on as a guest on a show, I'll try and watch it. Frank Skinner.
My number one.
Is it? Yeah.
Number one. definitely. I've seen him
I think
5-6 times.
He's just so witty. He's a funny man, isn't he? He can talk about anything, and he makes it interesting. His mind is so quick.
Yeah.
I just love out with him, out with Frank Skinner.
Yeah,
Have you ever worked with him, Gaz?
Never worked with him. I've been to see him 6 times. Never climbed up on anything to get in, but
yeah,
that's just me though. I like to go in the normal route.
Yeah.
Vegetarian like you.
He strikes me as a decent guy.
Yeah, he comes across. He's just like an ordinary lad, isn't he?
Yeah.
Like, it'd be good to sit in a pub with and have a few beers, wouldn't it?
Have you read his book? That book?
Yeah, I've got that upstairs.
The finest book I've ever read in my life. It's laugh out loud, and there's a section in here. I think he was either losing his virginity or he's been with a prostitute. There's a part in the book. It is the funniest thing I've ever read in my life. It said after he finished, he'd been with this woman.
Yeah.
As he got out of bed, he looked on the floor and there was a knickers were on the floor.
Yeah.
And he said, all I can say is, her arse must have been a heavy smoker.
I remember that. Horrendous.
Genius.
I remember that line in that book, yeah.
I remember laughing out loud at that. It's just brilliant.
I thought of a line of his earlier when you were talking, Pete, when you mentioned Deep Purple. He was doing one of his stand-up shows and he said he was talking about his musical preferences and he went, Sweet, Free, Deep Purple, any band whose title can be used to describe my genitals.
That's a belter, isn't
it? He was like, he was filthy, but just didn't get away with anything.
Yeah.
He's probably one of the filthiest comics you'll ever see, but brilliant.
I think what it is with him is when he gets up, he's just him, isn't it? It's not an act, he's just him.
No, it's just him talking to how many thousand people.
Yeah.
And you feel he's talking to you.
Yeah, he's good, isn't it?
And he's a football fan. He's a massive football fan.
West Brom, isn't it?
Big fan.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Number 3, I think Rod appeared on the same Royal Variety as your number 3.
Yeah. Russell Kane.
Yes.
I just really like him, and I've only really got into him probably through lockdown. I think
his little rant and what have you.
Jamie Sutherland worked with him, and he was on about him, and then I've not really watched him, and then we've had a lot of time to ourselves, and I sort of watch his videos, and I find him he's naturally witty, and he's close to bone as well, and I think comedy's good when you can sort of push the boundaries, isn't it? And I think sometimes we feel like, you'll probably feel the same, Rod, Gaz, that you feel like you're not allowed to say anything anymore, and he'll just say it, and it's like, yes, it's like,
yeah. So I remember super nice guy, and everybody in the dressing room was sort of bricking it, for want of a better term, except for him. He was doing an Italian course with a set of headphones on.
Really?
Yeah. He's going through like vocabulary and stuff. I said, "What are you doing, Russ? Are you going through your act?" No, I'm learning a bit of Italian. He's out there. He's out there.
Yeah, you can tell he's a super confident player. Bloke without coming across as arrogant, which is the big thing with comedy.
Yeah.
You need to look confident without looking arrogant, and he definitely comes across. And you think to yourself, you're safe with him when he comes on.
Yeah,
you're safe with him, aren't you?
Yeah, he's good. I've got to jump in there as well, Rod. When I watched you on telly, it was just unreal. I was so chuffed to see you on there, and you absolutely smashed it as well.
Oh,
I remember probably sitting down to watch it in my front room, and I was probably more nervous than I am when I'm doing a gig in front of 20 people. When you want someone to do so, you feel nervous for them, don't you?
Oh.
And you went on, mate, and it was proud as punch. I was like, I know him. And then I looked and you blocked me on Twitter and everything. I thought, who would do that? Who would do?
Did you see me on Opportunity Knocks in 1988, Pete?
I wasn't born, Gaz. Sorry about that.
Fair enough. I'm just asking for a friend.
I'll check through my Betamax videos after
this. So your fourth comedian's more of a comic actor or comic?
Yeah.
Comedy actor, yeah.
Yeah, can I throw him in?
Absolutely.
Probably, I've gone for Sacha Baron Cohen.
Yeah,
because again, he's like, he don't care. I loved him as Ali G. I like the stupidness of it. I almost like the sort of cringe factor of comedy, when he was interviewing people, and you know he's taking the piss, and you're waiting for them to realise, and thinking, how is he getting away with this? And then I think everything is done. I like Borat was just like
so funny.
I'm probably a bit childish. It just cracks me up, the childish, silly stuff that he does.
Yeah. It's. I mean, Borat's such a likable character anyway, that gives him extra license in a way. Yeah. And the recent one that he did,
that was like,
he got, because you're watching it and you think surely everybody knows now that he's a character, but he can still manage to dupe the likes of Rudolph Giuliani, can't he?
Yeah, I don't know. That was like, how is he getting away with it?
Watching that, thinking yourself, oh, he's in on this. No, he isn't.
Yeah. I thought that. He weren't though, would he?
Yeah, that was incredible.
When he went in dressed as Trump, it was like,
he just wanders out at these like rallies full of rednecks and stuff, doesn't he? And then starts, and you know it's going to kick off.
Oh, Christ.
Fearless, absolutely fearless.
I probably won't watch it. It's probably not the best family film, to be fair. But sit down, watch it with family. I'd probably a bad idea, but.
It's funny you should say that, because I took Naomi to go and see with my father. It was the worst couple of hours of my life. Took him to see the first Borat film. We sat there, and then it gets to that bit where the pair of them are rolling round bollock naked at the and Naomi's like giggling, and my father's going, "Who chose this?"
You know, my favourite Sacha Baron Cohen film is Grimsby.
Yeah.
Absolute distance. There's that scene when they're inside an elephant. Oh,
it's just mad, isn't it? Absolutely.
Me and Kaz, we've got some time to kill. I was doing a testimonial dinner in Kent, and I thought a bit of time to kill. We'll go and watch Grimsby. And honestly, I thought you were going to die. It was that funny. That was outstanding.
He's actually got. I should have mentioned this, guys, because you always like a Cardiff connection, don't you? He was living in Cardiff for years, and there's a suit shop called Barron's, which is still there opposite the castle. And you go in there, it's like his grandfather or something. Couldn't meet a more staid, reserved, gentlemanly guy. So no doubt Sasha's the black sheep of their family.
Yeah, but, definitely.
Yeah.
So Barron's right.
Yeah.
By the way, Pete, Gus obviously. Rod's Welsh, Ian's Welsh. And I try and get someone on that's got nothing to do with Wales, and they've got it in there already with this Sacha Baron Cohen thing. Just try and steer clear of Wales for a little bit if you can with the last few.
Okay, my final one, Max Boyce. I pulled it round now.
You've done it. We're having you back on.
I love you, Rod. Love you. Shall I move on to my last one?
Yeah, go on then.
My last one is probably not because what he's like as a comic, but what he's like as a person. Been lucky enough to get to know him over probably the last 9 years or something like that. But it's I've gone for Johnny Vegas. I think he's a very, very funny man, very articulate. He's like, I love sitting and talking to him and seeing how his mind works. His mind is like a comedy genius to me. He just goes off. He don't have any script. He'll just go off on a tangent and talk about it. And the stuff he comes out with, it's like, it's just, I love listening to him. I love sort of working with him, going for a pint with him. We once got a booking with him. It was an evening with Johnny Vegas, and it was a corporate. And I was supposed to basically interview him about his life. So Bev, who was his PA, she's a lovely lady, she sent me his biography. And I was looking through it with pages and pages of the stuff that he's done. You're thinking, wow, what can you talk about here? So with like a corporate audience. We had to do 40 minutes, just me sort of interviewing him. And I sat down with him at the night, and we're having the dinner at a black tie event. And he was just chatting away as he does. And I went, Johnny, I said, we're on in like 10 minutes. So we haven't sort of discussed what we're going to do, what we're going to talk about when we go up. Can we just make a few notes and I'll sort of guide you into things you want to talk about? And he went, how long have we got to talk for? I went, 40 minutes. He went, if me and you can't get up there and talk for 40 minutes with no script, there's something wrong. He says, we'll just wing it. I was like, and we got up and he did about an hour and a half. And it was like, what? And And that was just him with no script, just going off, abusing people. It was like, wow. You know, when you get on a stage, it's like there's a lot of risk involved when you've got no script whatsoever.
Yeah, he's one of those no safety net comics, isn't he?
Yeah.
So you got to know him through St Helens, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I got to know him through working at St Helens. He's a massive St Helens fan, so he goes to games and he's there a lot. And do you know what it is, guys? I think it's because I got to know him and he's just an ordinary bloke. He's got no edge to him at all. He don't think he's a big star. And I kind of like that in people. And he just loves like going for a pint in a rough pub in St Helens where he just sat with his mates, because that's what he is still, isn't it, really? Do you know?
Does he drink mild? Is that right? Is it mild or is it Guinness or something like that?
When I've been out with him, he's drank Guinness and what else that's on the table, basically. he can drink, but he's a funny man. I just find him really interesting.
I worked with him once we did a gig. There were about 5 comics on down in Southampton, and he was in the dressing room, and we were chatting away beforehand. And like you say, he came over as a great bloke. And then I went off. You know, sometimes you've had a good night, you come off, and it had gone well. It was one of those rare occasions. And it was, good reaction and everything. So I go in the dressing room and I think he's sure to say to me now, "Oh, you've stolen him there, son." Well done and all. Especially after we'd had a chat. I go in, and just get my suit carrier, and he goes, "Have you been on yet?" I still wasn't sure whether he was taking the piss or not. I think he was.
Yeah. I worked with him once. We did. John Wilkin, who was a former player at St Helens, he had a testimonial, and he managed to get Johnny Vegas to do a stand-up gig, and he'd not done one for a long time. And it was at the Theatre Royal in St Helens. And basically I got asked to be on the bill, which I was a bit nervous about. And I went over and I went with wife, and I got there before the doors had opened, and I thought, might be a bit out of my depth here, this, that self-doubt that you have, the bit of anxiety and that. And then Johnny Vegas came in, and he basically had a big bottle of vodka like that. He was swigging it. And he says, I'll go on first. I'll do 5 minutes and I'll introduce you. I went first act. And I had to do 35 minutes, 25 or 35 minutes. And he says, I'll go on. And he's swigging this vodka. And he says, I need a fag. So I went out onto the pavement and he said, hug me, I'm nervous. I'm thinking, you're nervous. So I'm giving him a hug on the street like he's having a cigarette. I don't even smoke, but I had a blast myself. And then he went in and he was a nervous wreck, and that was making me more nervous. And then, so he went on stage, welcomed everybody. It was a busy night. I don't know, say 500-700 people there. And I'm waiting to go on. He's going on. He's going to welcome everybody, do 5 minutes, and then introduce me. 35 minutes. He's got to meet it 35 minutes later. They're eating out of his hand. They don't want him to come off. He's got a standing ovation, and then I'm going straight on. I was like, nice one. Like your Dean Saunders moment there, guys. I felt the pain, mate.
How did it go?
Yeah, do you know, it went good. But he introduced me. My name's Pete Emmett, and I worked for St Helens, who play at Langtree Park. And Johnny had a bit of vodka and that. And when he came to introduce me, he went, this man is a legend of St Helens Rugby League. Please welcome Pete Langtree. I'm like, that's my name and first name at the stadium, innit? And he was so apologetic after. He was like, I can't believe I called you Pete Langtree. But he bought me loads of beer afterwards. We went out till I was piggybacking him around St Helens at about 3 o'clock. We had a good night. He's a wild man.
Great comedian list: Peter Kay, Frank Skinner, Russell Kane, Sacha Baron Cohen, and Johnny Vegas.
Yeah, I like the Gimme 5 podcast because, it's crazy.
The final list is a list that everyone does, and it's dinner guests, dead or alive. Your number one dinner guest, please, Pete.
Number one dinner guest, as I said earlier, I'm a massive boxing fan. It was a bit of a hero of mine growing up. I followed his career really closely, and my dad was a massive fan of this bloke, so I've gone for Sugar Ray Leonard, believe it or not.
Smooth.
It's just I think he one of the most exciting boxers I've ever seen. He he was just such a talent, and I've just loved his whole career. I've met him a few times. I've worked with him a few times. That's not why I've put him in to get that across. But I tell you what I like with him, Rod. He came across doing a tour, and I actually paid £75. I bought a ticket, and I just went and watched him. I went to an event, and I sat back at Rome just watching him and listening to him. And so I wanted to go and just sort of hear his story from the man himself and that.
Yeah.
And it was brilliant. And I bought a signed big sort of canvas picture of him, got it up in my office. And then it was about a year later, my bookings came through, and I'm looking on my list of what I've got coming up. And some things jump out on you, don't you? And what you get excited about, an evening at Bradford Labour Club with Gary Marshall buzzing, something like that. I looked down and I seen Sugar Ray Leonard on one of my bookings and thought, what's that? And it was an evening with Sugar Ray Leonard, and my role was to host an interview. Oh. Well, I couldn't sleep. Honestly, it was like, wow. I would have paid money to go and do it.
Yeah, yeah.
And I went over and I met him, and I was really nervous, sort of sweating and trying to keep yourself together kind of thing. And I was sat on top table next to him, and he brought his brother over from America, and I sat with him, and it was like winning a competition. It was absolutely brilliant. Such good fun as well. He just wanted me to take the piss out of the audience, have a bit of banter. He loved all that.
Did he?
That music to your ears, that, isn't it?
Yeah,
yeah, it is. Because some of them are a bit aloof, aren't they? Some of the boxes.
Yeah, they can be. I found him to be just you say you shouldn't meet your heroes, but he sort of surpassed all expectations. But went on about banter as well. I said to audience, I says, before I introduce Sugar Ray Leonard, I says, look, I'm going to interview him for like 40 minutes. I'm going to open it to the floor for 15 minutes. So have a think about what you want to ask. And this bloke on table in front, straight away, is like that. He's got his hand up. And I'm like, no, mate, I'll come to you when I finish the interview, and then you ask your questions then. He kept his hand up all the time like that. And then Sugar Ray Leonard were like, you were making him a bit uneasy because you were right up front. So we finished the interview, and I went, right, I'm going to go to you now. I said, what's your question for Sugar Ray Leonard? And I jumped off stage and put microphone to his mouth like, and he went, hiya, Ray, how are you doing? And I'm like, you're limited on time. You need him to speed up. And Sugar Ray went, yeah, I'm good, thank you, yeah. He went, good, yeah. It's good to have you here. I went, oh, can we have your question, please, mate? And he looked at me a bit agitated, as if, don't talk to me like that. And so this is how he put his question, and he went, Sugar Ray, he went, brain, speed, or power? What do you think? And I was like, So Sugar Ray Leonard went, I don't understand the question. So he's getting a bit mad then. He's going, brain, speed, or power? And I went, I think he means which is the most important attribute of them three. Is that right? And he looked me up and down, this bloke, as if he thought I were belittling him. I weren't. So Sugar Ray Leonard went, it don't make sense. He says, because what's the point of having speed and power if you haven't got a brain? And what's the point of... You know, when you get one of them moments where it feels a bit awkward, this bloke stood up, and he's a big bloke, and he's a bit agitated. I went, I think I can answer this one, Ray. He goes, what? I goes, I think I know which one of those attributes he's left at home. Oh, mate, he was going to kill me. It was like, and everyone laughed. And Sugar Ray Leonard's like high-fiving me. I'm like, no, I'm going to get filled in car park here. Yeah.
Good, great ad-lib though, isn't it? That's
oh, yeah. And he was loving it. Sugar Ray Leonard was like loving it as well.
So, number 2 on your dinner party list?
Number 2 is, I'm a massive rugby league fan.
Yeah.
I got to know this guy, and he was a very inspirational man. Sadly, he's no longer with us. He passed away. It's Steve Prescott, MBE. Steve was a former rugby league player with St Helens, Hull. It was someone that I got to meet him after he'd been diagnosed with terminal cancer, and they only gave him a few months to live. And what Steve did, he defied everybody. He defied. It's hard to believe what he did, even knowing that he's going to pass away. He took on a series of challenges, which was just incredible. He did it with Paul Sculthorpe, a lot of the challenges with him, people got on board. And to this day, his legacy continues through the Steve Prescott Foundation. I'm a big supporter of that charity. And his family have kind of followed in his footsteps as well. His son Taylor is taking on loads of challenges, and I'm sure his other son Kobe, he'll probably do the same when he gets a little bit older. But I always think that he's just one of them people that I felt very lucky to got to know and to become a friend with as well. Just one of these superhumans that just kept going to the very end, and he's really, his legacy is he had a major transplant, major organ transplant. It was the first of its kind down in Oxford, and basically that it was a pioneering operation. And really, what it's done, people have had that since, and they've lived. So he has helped kind of save people. He was just a very amazing man, very, very funny man as well. He had a brilliant sense of humour. He just had that defiance with him throughout. And I always look back of all the people that I've ever met, I always think that I was so lucky to have got to know Precky. Wow. Just a legend.
Lovely words, Pete. Lovely words for a great man, like you say, legend of the game as well. And like you say, he lives on through the foundation. That I mean, the amount of stuff they do and the amount of money they raise, different class.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah, brilliant. Just a quick one as well. We had his golf day over at Alton Hall. Used to raise money for the foundation, and they asked me if I go and MC it. I says, "Of course I will." And I got across the morning, and there were loads of like rugby league players, lots of stars there, and there were one player short for golf. So he said, "Would you play?" And I says, "I haven't got any gear." And he says, "I can get you some clubs." I says, "Oh, I ain't got any shoes or out." He says, "Oh, they've got a shop here." And I'm thinking, I'm doing gig for now, and I'm going to have to buy some shoes at one of the poshest golf shops in country. Like, I went, "I'll go get some Precky." Like, so I goes in shop, and I bought the cheapest pair of shoes. I think they were 65 quid, and I was looking as well. You know what I mean? That's a few cans of Skull, that Rod. And I tried them on, and I come out, and I said to Precky, "I've got some shoes, mate." I said, "I'll go bed them in," and I walk around car park a bit. So you're doing 18 holes, they're going to get a bit uncomfy, aren't they, to start with? So I'm walking around, walked on grass a bit and that, and I went back in. Then Precky says, "Oh, Pete, you're all right. Daryl Powell's here now. You don't have to play." And I took Precky back to his shop. So he was howling, absolutely howling.
You've used them since, haven't you?
Well, they're very good for climbing, aren't they? Golf shoes.
Yeah, I've got them golf shoes to this day, and every time I look at them, I always think of him, and I smile at that story. Like,
I played with you last year, if you remember.
Yeah.
In one of the Walking's brilliant golf days.
Oh yeah.
Oh mate, you are the worst player I've ever played with.
But I enjoy it, and that is the main thing.
Exactly. He talks on your backswing. You're like, what?
Yeah, I am quite childish. You know, we're playing with Steve Howe and Dean Windass last year, and Steve takes it quite seriously, doesn't he? And he's taking a shot, and I'm going, what were Alan Shearer like then? Is he a good laugh? Is he like, and all that? And
on his backswing?
Yeah, and he goes, yeah. And I go, "Well, what, that Lee Clark, he seemed a good character. What were you like?" And he just turned around to Steve with his golf club, and he went, "Will you shut up?" And then he took his shot, and when he turned round, I have a low boredom threshold, and when he turned round, I was eating apples with me. Quite childish, sorry lads.
Oh, I look forward to having a knock with you one day.
Hey,
no, you won't. So your third choice.
Third choice, yeah. I've gone for probably one of the biggest characters in football, and he's not with us anymore, sadly. Jack Charlton.
Oh,
what a man! What a man!
Everybody loved him, didn't they?
Yeah.
Did you see that program that was on recently? Is it Finding? Oh, what a program that was!
Oh, I tell you what, when it got me when he started singing "Laden Races" at end, I was in floods, because it was like, well, and Paul McGrath as well, wasn't it? When Paul McGrath, it was like it was really moving. But I think the thing with Jack Charlton is what a character he could. You just sat and listened to him all day, wouldn't you?
And How he won the Irish round was amazing, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
English. What do an Englishman? Then, by the time he left, cult figure, hero.
I had a bit of a conflab with him. I was in such awe of him, like everybody else. But I was booked to do a gig up in Glasgow. It was myself, Steve Davis, who we've all worked with, I'm sure, and Big Jack. So Steve goes on first, and the usual form is the comic brings up the rear, don't they, on the bill? You end up getting on after midnight, or 800 people in Glasgow. So I was a bit apprehensive about it from the start. Anyhow, Steve goes on. He does a trick shot demonstration as he's doing his speech. Brought the house down, so they had a comfort break, because the only problem was, by this time, it's like 20 to 11, and I know that Jack can do an hour without even thinking about it. So I'm thinking this is going to be really hairy later on. So I had a word with the MC, and I said, any chance I can get on before Big Jack and do maybe 10, 15 minutes, and then just leave the floor to him, because everybody's here to see him anyway. Yeah, sounds like a great idea, he said, just clear it with Jack. So I went over to Jack, and I said, Jack, absolutely not, he said. I'm on next, and then you go on last. He said, that's the way it always is. I said, oh, okay, sorry. Unfortunately, the compère didn't hear this. So and he says, and now a comedian from Wales whips me on. I thought, get in quick. So I grabbed the mic, did a tight 10 minutes, came off. I had the sensation of his eyes burning into me the whole time I was on. I turned, just did a double take. All the veins in his neck was sticking. He was livid. Anyhow, he got up and he ripped the place apart like he always did. An ovation, unbelievable. And I tried to sidle past him on the top table at the very end, and he got hold of me by both my collars there. He put his nose right up against mine. He went, that worked out well, son, but it won't fucking happen again.
That is brilliant. Yeah, I think you knew where you stood with him, didn't you?
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely, you knew where you stood with him. Brilliant.
But brilliant. He was brilliant, and he was a lovely fella. He genuinely was a nice guy, and he just had something, didn't he?
It was probably, I bet I were about 20 years old. He came and did an event at Halifax Irish Centre. They had a football team there, and I've never seen the place as busy. And I bought a ticket, and I went, and I stood at the bar, couldn't get a seat, and I was watching him, and I was mesmerised. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. And then he had a break, and he come to the bar to get a pint of Guinness, and he come and stood next to me, and he went, all right, lad. And I was like, oh, I couldn't even speak. He was a funny man, interesting man.
Yeah. They say that he always used to pay his bar bill with a cheque because nobody would ever cash it in Ireland.
Yeah, had to keep it, didn't they?
So, that's 3 down. We might as well do your last 2 together, because we've mentioned them before. The last 2 dinner guests are both quality.
I picked these because it'd be interesting, wouldn't it? And you definitely be. I like a laugh, and you'd be guaranteed laughs with these 2. I've gone for Jack Nicholson and Will Ferrell.
Oh, brilliant!
It'd be a bit of a crazy night with them, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. What a couple! And Jack Nicholson's 84th birthday this week, apparently. Yeah. He's looking good on that, isn't he?
Yeah, he's. I think did I read a story where this week where an Irish rugby team went where he was on by his holiday home, and he found out, so he just went down and met him and went on beer with them all day or something.
That's fantastic, isn't it?
Just imagine them lads on.
Sort of thing you would do, wouldn't
it? That sounds like Ian's giving you snippets as well.
Yeah. Hey. Ian said, say this. And
say this. He went on piss.
You look really intelligent on this.
Been on piss with a load of Irish lads and Elizabeth Hurley.
You were a stripper at end of night. All right, Ian. Stop making stuff up.
That would definitely boozy do.
Yeah, it'd be good, that, wouldn't it? Yeah. You know, this is probably the best hour I've had of lockdown.
Your final one, Will Ferrell, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Do you imagine that?
Brilliant. I think, I know comedy doesn't really get many Oscar nominations, but I think he should have won the Oscar for Elf.
Yeah.
Anybody, any actor could have played that part as well as he did. Yeah. He was he's absolutely magnificent. Yeah. Never got a nomination, should have won it in my eyes. Yeah.
Do you know what I'm going to end up doing tonight, guys? I'm going to just bang a film on. Going to get back at the school and watch Will Ferrell.
Thank you. Said you finished off with a film on. Thank God for that.
I had my haircut, I got a new shirt on. I even put some aftershave on for this.
Well, my missus says...
You do look dapper, to be fair. You look...
Cheers, Rod. Love you, mate.
Yeah. Looking clean cut and ready to go for this.
No need for that.
And we appreciate that.
We do appreciate it. By the way, my missus said, I see you've not shaved. I went, listen, I just look more like George Michael when I've got a bit of a beard. Like I'm sure, just looking for nodding approval.
Yeah, no, you mentioned it.
You sure you didn't me and George Roper?
I thought Ian had just sent you that bollocks to read out.
Brilliant. You look good, Gaz. Don't let anyone tell you any different, mate.
Thank you very much indeed. You'll see this live in May. I'm certain when we get to the Monday Club back up and running.
Can't wait, mate. Can't wait.
So your dinner guests to finish off. You've got Sugar Ray Leonard, Steve Prescott, Jack Charlton, Jack Nicholson, and Will Ferrell. You have had some wonderful things that you've given us today. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you. What a pleasure to see you two. And Ian, thanks for your help as well with this.
Likewise, great for you to join us. And I always think when I've been at events where you've been comparing and stuff, you're like a catalyst for a good time. You put you in the middle of the mix and things just seem to happen. You know, it certainly felt as enjoyable today having you on the show. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Rod.
This has been one of my favourites, to be fair. I've enjoyed this immensely, Emo.
Yeah. Hey, catch up with you is always a pleasure.
Have a great one.
Have a good one, mate.
Thank you, guys.
Cheers, pal.
Cheers, Pete.
Cheers. Bye. Bye.
I tell you what I don't like about Give Me 5, and that's that it's discriminatory against all the other numbers. I mean, what about Give Me 4, or Give Me 3, Give Me 6, Give Me 2? How come no one's ever asked me to give him 1? That's rhetorical, of course.
So that was like an hour and 15 minutes, and it seemed to fly by. I guess they say the old cliche about the time and fun and flying fast and all that, whatever it is.
Yeah. What is it? Time flies when you're having fun, I think. Is the one.
Yeah,
not fun flies.
I knew the words, but not necessarily in the right order.
Jam nitty gritty. You're listening to the sound of the big bad city. This is Jam Hot.
But he was great value on the old Pete Emmett.
No, I knew he would be. And also, probably the least Welsh episode we've ever had.
Yeah, that's a point. He didn't even ask what this autograph was.
I wonder why he had it on. And I can't believe you didn't say who your favourite, when you mentioned Sugar Ray Leonard, who your favourite Welsh boxer was. You know, Sugar Diabetes. Can't believe it.
Sugar Diabetes.
It's a trick.
The COVID king. You wait forever for the second jab. Yeah, well, he certainly had a great list of dinner guests. I thought that'll be at some evening. Although I think a great night out for him would just be an evening at Go Ape, wouldn't it?
Just climbing over things, you mean?
Climbing over things.
He just loves climbing, doesn't he? Like I say, the Chris Bonington of Abingdon. Oh, absolutely amazing. Just we climbed over a big tyre. I climbed in the bus. Unbelievable. Yeah.
Well, I hope you all enjoyed that as much as we did. And if you did, then please come back and join us for the next installation of the Gimme 5 podcast. You can find us on YouTube and all the regular podcast platforms. In the meantime, this has been a Tis Done production, courtesy of the brilliant Ian Parsons. I've been Rod Woodward. That's Gary Marshall. And you've been listening to the Gimme 5 podcast.